So, you're in the market for a brand new hot tub. Maybe your first hot tub, or maybe you're moving to a new house and you love hot tubs and you want to put a new hot tub in that new house that you're moving to, and you're about to go to the hot tub showroom. What are the top 5 questions you need to ask yourself or the hot tub salesperson before you plunk down thousands of dollars on that new hot tub? That's what we're covering today in this video. The absolute top 5 things that you need to find out the answers to before you make a decision. Hi, I'm Jeff Campbell from Hot Tub Owner HQ, and I'm glad you're here with me today. The first question you need to ask yourself is, where is the hot tub going to go at your house, and how much room is available around it? After all, it's not just the actual footprint of the hot tub, but you need to think about enough space on the sides to have access to the panel. You need to have space on the sides for the cover, especially if you're using a hot tub cover lifter like I do. And you need to have stairs that access the hot tub. You may want to have a privacy fence around yours like I do around 2 of the 4 sides of mine. So you need to think about having enough room. The average large-sized hot tub like mine is about 8 foot square all the way around. But really, in an ideal world, you'd have at least an extra 2 feet, if not more, on all 4 sides. I don't have that on these back 2 sides, as you can see in the video. The fence is right up against the hot tub. It was like that when I bought this house, so I didn't really have a choice in the matter. But it does make it hard, for example, to get to the filters, which are under this cover right here. I have to kind of jury rig myself on top of the hot tub and hope I don't fall in every time I need to get access to my filters. So in an ideal world, you would have at least 2 foot of clearance all the way around, if not 4 foot of clearance all the way around. So again, if we're talking about an 8 foot by 8 foot hot tub, ideally you'd have 12 feet square all the way around. The next question you want to ask yourself is, how far away is the nearest hose spigot? That's how you're going to be filling up your hot tub, both the first time you do it, as well as every 3 months or so when you drain the water from your hot tub and you have to start fresh again. So you don't want to put it somewhere where the nearest hose spigot is 200 feet away. Most hoses aren't going to be that long, and any hose over 100 feet in length is potentially going to be really problematic in terms of it getting all kinked up and things like that. So ideally, 50 feet is about right. So my hose spigot, we're going to measure it in a minute to see exactly how far away mine is, but I'm guessing it's probably about 25, maybe 30 feet away, and that's really ideal. But find out where yours is. It's also a good idea to check and see if that water runs through a water softener system, if you have a whole house water softener system. If you don't, and especially if you're on well water, you're going to want to think about that, because the water going into your hot tub is going to have high levels of calcium and other minerals that can leave deposits in the equipment and really cause a lot of problems over time. Now, there's chemicals you can add to the water to get rid of the calcium. That's an easy fix, but it's good to know. For example, we have several hose spigots on my house, and some of them go through the water softener system and some of them don't. I don't know why that is, but it's good to know if you have a water softener system on your house. All right, so let's quickly measure how far away my hose is. This is just going to be a rough estimate. That's about 10 feet there. All right, right now we're at 20 feet. Probably going to be more like 35 feet when all is said and done. So that's about 30 feet right there. And as you can see, I've got a 4 connector hose spigot right there. So about 35 feet total is how far away my hose is. So again, you just kind of want to know where the nearest one is so you can really be thinking about that. Make sure you've got the right length of hose, and make sure there's one that's relatively accessible to your hot tub, because otherwise it's going to be a real pain in the butt to fill up. Real quick before we keep going, if you like this video, hit that like button for me. It sends a great signal to YouTube. They're going to show it to more people, and then I can grow my channel and help more people along the way as well. I really appreciate you doing that. It's a great way to say thank you to me for taking the time to make my videos. The next thing we want to get into, of course, is if we're talking about putting water into the hot tub, what about the water that's in the hot tub that needs to come out of the hot tub? Where are you going to drain it to? You ideally want a discrete place in your yard somewhere, because it will kill or at least damage grass and trees and bushes and things like that. You also don't want it flooding the neighbor's yard, depending upon how far away the property lines are and things like that. So you want to think about where you're going to drain it to. I use a submersible pump to drain mine. That drains mine in about 15 minutes. I do have other videos that walk you through how to do that if you're not sure about that. And that comes with a 25-foot hose. I can run run mine to a discrete part of the yard, and it comes really in handy for just getting rid of all the water, because after all, there's hundreds of gallons of water in here, and you don't want that, like I said, you don't want it running up against the foundation of your house, you don't want it running into your neighbor's yard, you don't want it running onto anything that could potentially be damaged by the chlorinated, chemical-laden water that's in your hot tub. So a nice discrete part of the yard is ideal that's away from anything of value. All right, this next tip I have for you could actually save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So listen closely. This is about the electrical components of your hot tub. This is, of course, assuming you're getting a 220 volt hot tub. I'm going to get into the difference between a 220 and a 110 volt hot tub in the next point. But assuming you have a 220 volt hot tub, you're going to run that to a disconnect box that's usually located within about 5 feet of the hot tub. Mine's right over here. And then from there, it goes to your main breaker panel. And if you don't have any available slots in your main breaker panel, you're either going to have to get a new breaker panel, that could be thousands of dollars, or you're going to have to find a way to maybe combine or use jumpers to kind of combine breakers so that you can free up a slot in there. The cheapest I have found to get that kind of work done was about $800. So it can be very expensive. So you do want to know that before you decide to buy a hot tub, because you don't want to find out after you've plunked down $15,000 to buy a new hot tub, then it's going to cost you an extra $3,000 to get the electrical hooked up. That's just adding insult to injury. And then lastly, as I just hinted at, you want to know if you're going to get a 220 volt hot tub, sometimes called a 240 volt hot tub, or a 110 volt hot tub, sometimes called a 120 volt hot tub. I am not an electrician. I don't know why you see those variations. Maybe an electrician can chime in the comments and correct me and make fun of me. I love it when people do that. But my hot tub is indeed a 220 volt hot tub. And again, that requires a disconnect box, which then runs to your main breaker panel. A 110 volt hot tub literally just has a regular wall plug that plugs into any normal household wall outlet. It's a great way to go from that standpoint because you don't have to pay an electrician to do anything. However, there are a few considerations you want to think about if you're going the 110 volt route. For starters, the typical length of the cord coming off of that is going to be 15 feet, and you do not want to use an extension cord with a 110 volt hot tub. That's just too much current going through that cord to then run it through an extension cord. You don't want to do that. So you do want to make sure you've got an outlet that is nearby the hot tub within 15 feet. It needs to be a ground fault interrupter circuit outlet, and that's the kind that basically has one of those tiny little mini breakers on it that you can push and reset. That's a great way to go, because if we are mixing water and electricity, right? If there's anything that happens that causes an interruption to the circuit, it'll pop that breaker in an instant, which helps keep you safe. And you also want it to be weatherproof. After all, this is going to be outside in most cases, so it needs to have probably one of those plastic covers that can keep the rain and the weather out of it. But the other crucial thing to know about 110 volt hot tubs is that they typically have a much lower powered heater, usually 1 kilowatt versus 4 kilowatts in the normal hot tubs like mine. That is a much smaller heater, is going to take longer to heat the water, and it will struggle more when the weather's really cold outside. So if you lived somewhere, for instance, like Chicago, I would probably not go that route, because if you want to use your hot tub in winter, it's going to really struggle to keep the water warm, and anytime a hot tub heater struggles, that's going to add to your electric costs. The other key consideration for those 110 volt hot tubs is they typically cannot run the heater and the jets at the same time. So if you're in your hot tub a lot and you're running the jets a lot, just know that the whole time that's going on, the heater's not kicking in. And if you're in there for a long time, you can see that water temperature drop a little bit. Not significantly, but a little bit. So just bear that in mind. If you really want to use your hot tub a lot, and especially if you live somewhere cold, I would probably steer away from the 110 volt hot tubs. They are a lot cheaper though. You can get a decent 110 volt hot tub. You can even buy them on Amazon for maybe $3,000 or $4,000, whereas a typical 220 volt hot tub, even the bare bones minimal ones, are probably at least $7,000 or $8,000, and many can be quite a bit more than that. Anyway, those are the top 5 questions that I think you need to know the answers to before you ever walk into a hot tub showroom. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have an idea for a future video, leave me that in the comments down below. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.